Hey, it's Marcel with Guaranteed Rate, and I wanted to give you another market update, and there's certainly some very important topics that I'd like to cover for anyone who is thinking about buying a house, selling a house in the real estate community. The market has definitely shifted here very, very quickly over the past couple of weeks, and so I wanted to start off with a couple of different things. Number one, as most of you are aware, interest rates are just absolutely incredibly low right now, which is good. It is allowing people to refinance. It is allowing people to get into homes and have lesser monthly payments. And when people buy homes and sell homes, it generally is going to be a very strong stimulus to the economy. So that is something that's very, very good. Now, obviously, COVID is affecting the entire situation when it comes to really all the aspects of real estate, in the way that we're viewing homes right now, in the way that loans are being underwritten, processed, closed. Really, everything has changed. And I wanted to really go into some of those details so that you are aware of some of the big changes that have happened recently. Number one is going to be really the view of self-employment. And if you're self-employed, it certainly doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to buy a home. But with COVID right now, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and just announced FHA, and certainly some jumbo lenders right now, are all really scrutinizing self-employment income. And so that means that rather than just be able to provide the tax returns to show the history, now we're really needing to see updated P&L statements and, more importantly, bank statements. And this is where it can get really tricky sometimes. When an individual is self-employed, sometimes they do have separate bank accounts completely for the business. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes those bank accounts are commingled with their personal accounts. Well, when an underwriter is looking at those bank accounts now, it's really difficult for them to decide, okay, is this going to be a business expense or is this a personal expense? And so there may be some additional work in having to prove some of those items. So if you are self-employed or you have clients that are self-employed, get started on the mortgage process earlier in the transaction, because you really want to make sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Really what Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA, what all of the investors are looking for right now is they want to make sure that someone is back on their feet. Even if you had a little lull, now they're looking for, okay, well, maybe you were shut down for a short amount of time, but are you back up and running? Do you have a lot of income or revenues coming in, and can that be documented? So it's certainly something that you want to look at. Also, the thing that we really need to consider right now is we have a lot of clients who do have investment properties. One of the things that has happened with investment properties is that there are a lot of tenants right now who have stopped making their rental payments. Well, if the rental payments aren't being made, in essence, that means that the homeowner, the landlord, isn't receiving money, and so that's putting some duress on them. And so now the updated guidelines are actually looking for additional months of reserves per investment property. A lot of them now have gone to 6 months. So what does that mean? It means that if you are buying a home and you're a landlord and you have a rental property, they're going to be looking to make sure that you have up to 6 months reserves for that payment on that rental property. So if the payment is, for example, $2,000 for that rental property, you have to have an additional $12,000 in reserves just in case that tenant is unable to make the rental payment because of something that's COVID related. So obviously, it's a pretty big change right now. So if you do have investment properties, make sure that you talk to your mortgage lender, find out exactly what the guidelines are, and make sure that you do have those reserves in place. Also, keep in mind that right now, volume, because interest rates are at historic lows, volume is at historic highs. Literally, the mortgage industry right now has more business than they are capable of handling. And so what does that mean? It means get started in the process earlier. Make sure that you talk to your mortgage company, your loan officer up front, turn in all of your documentation. The more pieces of the puzzle you can provide, the better. Also, make sure that you have a realistic expectation of how long things are going to take. You know, it used to be to where closing a transaction in under 3 weeks was easy, no problem at all. But now, because of all the pieces that are in play, it can certainly take longer than that. Processing takes longer, underwriting takes longer because of volume. Appraisers, they're underwater because right now they have so many appraisal orders, they're barely even able to keep up. Title companies right now have processing plants in order to order title work. Well, that's taking longer too. So when you start adding up all those little delays along the entire the milestone path of a transaction, it can certainly take a little bit longer. So talk to your loan officer, see what a realistic expectation is, and make sure that you do adjust accordingly. Also, if you're able to, try not to have the moving van scheduled on the day of closing at 8 o'clock in the morning. Right now, you do want to allow for a little bit of flexibility. Create a safety net for yourself. Go ahead and have a closing and don't have plans to move into the property for maybe an additional day or two afterwards. It is going to alleviate so much stress in the entire transaction if you do have that extra breathing room, and it's certainly going to be something that you appreciate should the title company not be able to accommodate the closing, should it be pushed the next day. You certainly do want to make sure that you have that safety net. So if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. I'm Marcel with Guaranteed Rate. Best number to reach me is 972-672-3246, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.